Soft, flaky, layered chapati has become my new favorite thing. Come along with me while I learn to make this delicious Kenyan chapati from Chef William.
So delicious. I'm gonna taste it.
This chapati is so soft and so delicious. And if you've seen our 2-ingredient roti video, you'll know that I love how simple roti is to make. And while Bryan and I were on safari recently in Kenya, our chef taught us how to make this chapati. And this feels like the more luxurious sister recipe to my roti recipe, but it's still a pretty simple and quick flatbread to make. I'm Catherine, Bryan's behind the camera, and we are excited for you to make your own Kenyan chapati. This was a really fun cooking class from Chef William and the rest of the staff at the Gamewatchers Safari's Porini cottages. And you'll notice that my first attempts at chapati were not exactly perfect. But since I've been home, I've been working on it, and the handy thing about my mistakes is that I can pass Chef William's tips and advice on to you. For the ingredients, you'll need all-purpose flour or maida flour, which I understand is just a little more fine than all-purpose flour, and water. Now for the luxurious part. Sugar, salt, and vegetable oil. These are the key to those flaky layers and that soft, pliable texture. These chapatis stay super soft for hours and hours. Even after being in the fridge overnight, we just take them out and heat them up on a warm pan and they're perfect again. Without these ingredients, and I have tried this recipe without these to test it, the chapati are much more stiff. They don't pull apart in the same way, and they're not nearly as flavorful. So here is how Chef William taught me to make the dough. To make 10 to 12 chapati, add a 1 1/4 cup warm water, which has been boiled and cooled, to a large heat-resistant bowl. Add a 1 tablespoon cane sugar, 1 tablespoon salt, and a 1/4 cup vegetable oil. Stir to dissolve the sugar and salt. Next, add 500 grams white all-purpose flour or maida flour, and stir immediately with a clean hand to bring the dough together. Knead the dough for 3 to 5 minutes until it's no longer sticky. When Chef William showed me how to make these, he added more flour as he was working with the dough. And he told me that he makes these so often he doesn't use any measurements. He just goes by the feel of the dough. So I've started with less water than he started with, so that hopefully you won't have to add more flour and the recipe can just be a little more exact for you. I have noticed differences though with the hydration of the dough, even just between different brands of flour. So if your dough is too sticky, add just a 1/2 tablespoon of flour at a time until the dough is no longer sticky. And Chef taught me how to knead the dough like a Kenyan.
It's a normal way of the way we do it in Africa.
Okay.
He was using his fist a lot more than I'm used to. And I think when I give it a try, I actually say that I'm folding the dough too much and turning it over instead of just prodding it more with my fist. Remove the dough from the bowl, place it on a clean surface, and cover it with the bowl to rest for 10 minutes. This simple trick was one of my favorite takeaways from the whole cooking class. I have made a decent amount of bread recipes, and they usually tell you to transfer the dough to a clean bowl and cover it with a damp kitchen towel or plastic wrap, or transfer the dough to a lightly oiled bowl. And I loved that Chef turned over the same bowl that we'd already been using and used that to cover the dough and keep it warm while it rested. So simple, so practical, so obvious, and yet I've never done that before. So let me know in the comments if this was an aha moment for you too, or if I'm alone in this little epiphany. Lightly dust a clean work surface with flour and roll the rested dough out to a large rectangular shape about 18 by 15 inches.
Like piece of dough.
Drizzle the dough with about 1 teaspoon vegetable oil and use a spoon or clean fingers to spread it across the dough. Use a pizza cutter to slice the dough lengthwise into 10 to 12 equal strips about 1.5 inches wide.
What does the oil do?
You make it have layers when you fold.
Okay.
Roll each strip of dough up like you're making a cinnamon bun. When you get to the end, take the tail of the dough and press it through the center of the spiral, then flip the dough over, place it on the counter, and press it down lightly. Continue so you have 10 to 12 spiraled balls of dough. You may have noticed that one thing I've decided to do differently is to slice the dough lengthwise instead of widthwise. lengthwise and not discard any of the dough. Chef William knew exactly where to tear the dough so that each chapati would be the exact same size, and he was going to use the discard. But I've decided to slice the dough lengthwise just so that there is a little less dough to work with in that direction and I can use the whole strip. And when you're rolling your dough into this rectangular pizza shape, just try to make the edges of your dough as straight as possible. That way they're not rounded and you don't kind of have an uneven strip on the end to roll up. And finally, the oil here is necessary for creating those layers. But if you use too much oil, then it will be sort of oozing out and pooling everywhere as you try to roll these spirals. So not too much. Next, lightly flour your work surface. Take one spiraled ball of dough, pat it flat with your palm, and use a rolling pin to roll it out into a circular chapati about 8 inches in diameter. Keep extra flour nearby and lightly dust the work surface as needed so the chapati doesn't stick. You'll be able to see the swirl of the layers you created while you're rolling out your chapati. And while Chef was doing this, he looked so smooth. His hands were moving so fast, the chapati wasn't sticking, even though he didn't seem to be flouring the surface very much. He was doing this cool flip onto the rolling pin thing to turn it over. The chapati were a perfect circle. I was like, I got this. I'll roll the chapati, no problem. I'll do your little flip onto the rolling pin thing.
Okay. It's kind of a square at the moment.
It looks like map of Africa.
Yeah.
So, 3 things I was doing that needed improvement that Chef diagnosed. One was that I wasn't using enough flour. So if your chapati is sticking, then just stop and add more flour underneath. You don't want your chapati to be dripping in excess flour when you take it to the stove, but you don't want it to be sticking and flipping over on you. 2, I was trying to be a superstar and I was moving too fast. So if it keeps flipping on you, then take it a little slower. And 3, I wasn't using enough pressure. I think because I was trying to go more quickly, I was lighter on the rolling pin. So slow down and focus on pressing down and through the dough. Oh, and the cool flip thing, I'm just not doing it. I am just picking the dough up and flipping it over with my fingers, and I've resigned myself to the fact that I'm just not that cool. Usually when I'm nearly done rolling my first chapati, I get my pan on the stove. Heat a pan over medium-low heat. You should feel the heat if you hold your hand above the pan, but it shouldn't be too hot that the chapati will burn quickly. Lay the rolled dough on the hot pan and allow to cook for 1 to 2 minutes. Once you see that it's puffed up a bit in spots and the dough has begun to cook, flip the chapati. It should be lightly browned on the first side. Carefully spin the chapati with your hand or a spatula to distribute the heat and cook on the second side for another minute or so until it too is lightly browned. Spread a little bit of oil over the top of the chapati and flip it back onto that first side. Give it another spin to distribute the oil and encourage it to steam and puff up. Spread a bit of oil over the second side and flip the chapati again. After another few seconds, when the chapati is nicely spotted with browning and cooked through, remove it from the heat. Look at these layers! Not quite as distinct as his, but I'm happy with that. I was a little better at cooking the chapati than I was at rolling it, but still, Chef William gave me some handy tips. So one was to use the spoon, not only to help you spread the oil, but to also make it easier to grip the edge of the chapati and flip it over to protect your hands. Similarly, with the heat, when you're spinning the chapati like this, you're distributing the heat and encouraging steam to build up inside the chapati, and that's what helps to create the separation between the layers. But this is hot, so you can use a spatula to protect your hands, or Chef William actually took a finished chapati and placed it on top to protect my hands for me. Pretty cool tip. And one final note about the heat here. Making chapati might be like making pancakes for you. It might take you 1 or 2 to figure out what temperature your stovetop needs to be at. So if your pan is too cold, then it's going to take longer for the chapati to cook and the heat will dry it out and it'll kind of become like a cracker. So in that case, raise your heat. But if these brown spots are becoming black spots, turn down your heat. And it's a good thing we have lots to practice with, right? As I do that properly. Repeat the rolling and frying with all the remaining dough. Try to get into a rhythm where you can lay a chapati on the hot pan and roll another one out in the first couple of minutes it takes for the chapati to start cooking. As your chapati cook, you can keep your finished chapati in a clean kitchen towel to stay warm. When they are all done, do a little chapati dance and enjoy them. Make something yummy like my version of Kenyan Chapati and use those soft layered chapatis to scoop it all up.
Normally I come in with so much.
Yeah.
But I was just like, be cool, don't eat all the chapati at once. Come in, take it slow, chew your food. Oh, wow, satisfying. Oh, I'm gonna eat it without anything, just enjoying chapati as is.
Yeah, because it's really flavorful on its own. Oh.
Amazing. You're a goddess.
William's a god.
He is, chapati god.
Do you think they compare sort of in flavor to his, not so much technique?
I think they do. Yeah, his were pretty rich, but I like what you said in this video where this is kind of the like sexier older sister to the roti. That's kind of like your weeknight.
Sexier older sister. I think I said more luxurious sister recipe.
Oh, I misheard it. But I mean, the roti's sort of like your every night, every day kind of bread. This is like you maybe have people coming over kind of everyday bread.
Yeah, and the roti is just flour and water. So you're kind of relying on whatever you're scooping the roti in to be flavored and have the sodium in there. Mm-hmm. So the roti doesn't necessarily need to be flavored. With this, I kind of just want to eat the chapati on its own because
I am.
You can taste like it's salted, so like it's nicely seasoned, it has a lot of flavor, it's so soft because of that oil.
This recipe has been tested and tried by you. One night we were going to bed and Catherine's like, my hands hurt. Like she's been making so much chapati. You had
like calluses.
You had like grips.
I was trying to get those measurements right for you so that hopefully you won't have to add extra flour or not much extra flour. What about the gatheri? Do you want to try it?
I'm ready. The gatheri in Kenya was... Oh.
So we had this a few times on Safari, and I've seen multiple versions of gatheri online that use different kinds of beans and different additions, but I tried to make this one as close to what Chef Williams looked like for me. The big difference is that I've used sweet corn and not white corn or maize, because it's just easier to find sweet corn here. And this recipe is linked below for you as well, and it's up on the blog, the gatheri and the chapati, plus the sukuma wiki and the ugali from our last video. And I have seen online that there are different ways for rolling the chapati into that spiral to get the layers, but I really like how Chef William did it. I found it really simple, that cinnamon bun sort of roll, so I think that works perfectly.
We got to shout William out. He's
Thank
amazing.
you, Chef William.
Yeah.
This was a really fun experience. And like,
we're still eating your food. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And really cost effective too for tasty, thrifty, timely. The chapati, I think, for this 10 to 12 batch is about $1.95. The gatheri is just over $3 this portion. If I cook my beans from scratch and use my homemade broth, it goes up by a few dollars if you use canned beans and store-bought broth.
And this is, I mean, you get 13 chapatis or 12. This
Yeah, I had a little itty-bitty 13th.
Kenyan dozen. This is pretty quick for bread.
Yeah.
So whip it up, make chapati, leave a comment, let us know. Literally, as we were filming this video, someone sent a message to our Instagram and they had made the sukuma wiki and the ugali. That is why we do this. So let us know,
Super
tell us if you make it, because we love this chapati. We think you're gonna love this chapati. Catherine is smiling from ear to ear, tearing bread.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And although this is super flavorful, as is, I know that a lot of you like to cut down a little bit on oil and salt. So I think that you could decrease the salt in this recipe by a bit and they won't be as flavorful, but I don't think it'll affect the softness and the browning and the layers quite as much as if you were to decrease the sugar. Chef William can maybe comment and let me know if I'm correct in that, but I think you could decrease the salt by a little bit. If you want to save on the oil, that oil in the dough is really what makes this super soft. If you don't want to add extra oil when you're cooking them on the stovetop, then you can potentially save a little bit there. And again, that oil does help to make them really soft and nice right before you eat them, but you can try omitting that and they'll still be nice chapati.
Coming up next, Catherine's been making a potato salad all summer long. You've been working on the recipe and we think it's ready to share with you.
And a lot of you asked about a potato salad, so I've tried different versions. And yeah, I think that'll be next.
This is amazing.
How many chapati can we eat?
Quite a bit.